Welcome to episode number 27 of Life Without Cravings. So, in this episode, I want to focus on the power of your brain. So, whatever we are telling ourselves has a really huge impact on how we do things in everyday life. So, by choosing better thoughts, we can essentially choose better lives. And that includes taking care of ourselves and stop binging on carbs. So it affects everything. That's why this is so bloody important. I would have a lot of unhelpful thoughts back in the days, like when I couldn't stop eating the sweets. I think I had almost as many unhelpful thoughts about me and my ability to quit as I had thoughts about the treats that I wanted. And that's saying something because I was thinking about what I wanted, how to get it, how much I should be getting, when to get it, what flavor I wanted. It would just go on repeat in my brain 24/7 all the time. So that's saying something. And at the time, I didn't really have like an idea that I could actually choose my thoughts. I didn't even know that this was an option. I thought that thoughts were just something that happened and it was completely out of my control. But I want you to know that it is an option and that you can pick any of your BS thoughts that you have right now, and you can change them. Like you don't have to continue to keep thinking those unhelpful thoughts. So let's talk about what you're telling yourself. And I'm going to give you the 10 most unhelpful things that you really shouldn't be telling yourself. The first one I want to bring up is like if you're telling yourself like, I don't know how to do this. This thought will get you stuck in confusion because when you don't have the answer, when you don't know what to do, you're just going to be confused. And I made another video on that about 6-7 weeks ago. I think it was called the 4 most common reasons for why you don't quit. I'm talking about confusion there and how confusion is just keeping you stuck in the current moment, and it's extremely unhelpful because it will never move you forward. It won't move you backwards. It won't move you forwards. It will keep you stuck at where you are right now. And you don't want to be where you are right now because then you wouldn't be watching this video, right? So confusion is something you want to avoid 100% of the time. Make a decision. Try things out. Do something, but do not allow yourself to stay confused because it's never going to help you. And the second thought is like, everyone else can have whatever they want, so I should be able to as well. Like, imagine what that thought is creating for you. Everyone else can have it. I should be able to. Like, it's just self-pity. And self-pity has never gotten anyone results. When you are feeling self-pity, you will just want to engage with all the behaviors that will lead to instant gratification. If someone offers you chocolate, you're going to be grabbing for it because that will give you some relief and release you from this self-pity. Self-pity is not sexy. When people are indulging in self-pity, personally, I feel a bit repulsed because I have been doing that in the past and I hated doing that. I don't want to be there. It's a really awful place to be. But when I see other people doing it, it's like it's bringing all of that back up for me. And I'm like, no, I'm not going back there. And I know 100%, if you feel self-pity, you're not going to be able to change your behavior ever until we get out of that. And the third thing that you don't want to be thinking is things along the line like, I'm weird or I'm strange, I'm the difficult one, those kind of thoughts. A human need is we want to belong. Like belonging is a really basic human need that we would always strive towards. And these kind of thoughts will make you feel estranged and separated from other people. Belonging is not something that someone else can give you. Belonging is something that you create with your mind. Whether you feel belonging or not is not up to other people. It's up to you. And some of you are going to be like, you're wrong. Not. I'm not going to focus too much on this today, but if this is a big topic and you can't get it, I might do a podcast on that as well. But what is for sure that I think you can agree with is that if you think like I'm the strange one or I'm the weird one, of course you're not going to feel like you belong, because you have just pointed out how you do not belong to this group. So let's say that you have stopped eating carbs and then you go out with your friends, everyone is having a lot of carbs, and you're going to be like just ordering the steak on the menu or whatever. And you're thinking like, I'm the difficult one. I don't want to do this because then I'm not part of the group. What could you think instead? Like maybe some of your friends, they might have a completely different political opinion, but they're still part of the group. Or you might even have a friend who's vegan. They're still part of the group. Or someone just have different interests, but you have some interests in common and they're still part of the group. Like, why wouldn't you be able to eat a certain diet and still be part of the group? Like, really question yourself when you have these thoughts. Because this isn't, once you get on board with that, this is just BS, you can actually change that. And when you know that thinking that I'm the weird one is just going to make you feel like you don't belong, you realize that this is not a good thought to have if you want to be successful with sticking to this diet. So what could you think instead that would actually be useful? And the fourth one that you really don't want to be thinking is that I shouldn't have to go through this. Like that entitlement. When you think that I shouldn't have to do this, you feel entitled. And when we feel entitled, we're never coming from a position of power. We just expect other people to solve our problems, which is never going to be the case. Like, that's when you're going to come to me and you're going to ask me like, hey, is it a good idea for me to take chromium to get rid of my cravings? Or tell me what to do. Like, give me a pill that will solve this solution. When you feel entitled, you're never going to be motivated to actually feel that pain that it will involve when you actually go through not reacting to your cravings anymore. You're not going to want to put yourself through that. There's no way that you want to do that when you feel entitled. You should already have it. And you feel like someone has robbed you of it. That thought is never going to work for you. And the fifth one is, I have to quit, or insert your own bad consequence. So it might be, I have to quit, or my diabetes is going to get worse, or I'm never going to lose weight, and that just sounds like a threat. Like, it creates a demand on yourself to do something. And whenever we're trying to force ourselves to do something, we will automatically want to avoid it, because forcing ourselves to do something that we don't really want to do, never a good idea. Like, your brain is going to go on the defense straight away. That's your reptilian brain. It's just going to engage, and it's like, oops, there's a threat here. Let's run away from it. So rather than actually going through with the process and quitting the carbs, you're going to be like, no, we're going to avoid that at all costs, because this is a threat to my existence. So thinking that I have to do this or something bad is going to happen, you're threatening yourself. You want to change that around to thinking like, I want to quit because I want to never feel or cure my diabetes. Rather than avoiding something, what you want to achieve is that you want to achieve a better level. Like, I want to quit because I want to lose weight. I want to quit because I want more energy. Rather than, I need to quit or I'm never going to have more energy. Like, just the energy when I'm saying those sentences, you can feel it. Like, one is very disempowering and the other one is like, yeah, this is why I want to do it. So there is some motivation in why I want to do it. And the sixth thought that you don't want to think is, I don't want to be extreme by removing all the carbs. Like, who decides what extreme is or how many carbs you are allowed to eat? It's you. It's always you. You can set up your own rules. I don't care what your rules are. You just decide and then you follow your rules. So this is part of the black and white, all or nothing thinking. It's like, if I fail, then I've screwed it up, so I may as well just go on a complete binge. Rather than, whoops, I ate a gummy bear or whatever because I didn't think about it. Rather than just continuing with what you were doing and sort of thinking about, okay, what went wrong? What am I going to do the next time? How am I going to make this scenario play out differently the next time I'm in a similar situation. We can actually take this and we can learn from it. Rather than seeing that as a learning opportunity and like, it's no big deal, but I want to learn from it, we just panic and we're like, okay, well, I couldn't do it, so I may as well take this opportunity and eat all the cakes and all the ice cream in the world. Like, that is never going to help you. So skip that black and white thinking. Like, extreme, what is extreme? Like, it's just what you make it mean. So maybe you don't want to remove all the carbs, or maybe you do. Or maybe you're just saying this to yourself because you think that other people are going to think that you're extreme. You need to be really clear about what this means to you as well. And stop the black and white thinking, because that's never going to serve you. Set up your own rules and work towards them. And feel good about those rules. Like, you have them in place for a specific reason. And it's coming from a place where you want something to happen. Like, it's something that you desire that you can get if you go through this and you follow your own rules. Right, and the 7th one is, I need carbs after exercise, for example, or I need carbs to concentrate, or whatever it is, like the I need carbs. This is going to create conflict because you're probably going to have two opposing beliefs here, and that is going to create cognitive dissonance. So on one hand, you're like, I want to quit the carbs because I want to feel better and I want to reduce my diabetes or whatever. And on the other hand, it's like, but I need carbs after I've been exercising, otherwise I won't grow as much. Might be what you're thinking. First of all, you might want to have a look at, is that statement true? Like, do you really need carbs? Because we know that our bodies, via gluconeogenesis, can create carbohydrates. We can fill up our stores as much as we need with gluconeogenesis. We can eat protein to create this. We don't need exogenous carbohydrates. Okay? The body is capable of doing that. Have you tried this theory out? Have you tried to exercise without the carbs and seen actual results that are unfavorable? In which case, maybe you want to have some carbs. Maybe again, go back to the black and white thinking. Maybe after you've exercised, you're going to have a specific amount of carbs because you know that that is actually helping you. If that is the case, what's wrong with that? You might be, well, that creates cravings and that's not good and blah, blah, blah. No problem. You can have cravings. Or you can just suck it up and not get those extra results, if that is even true. You get to decide, but if you say like, well, I can't stop eating carbs because I need to eat carbs after I exercise to get the results that I want in the gym, okay, but that doesn't mean that you need to eat carbs every single day, all the time, or huge amounts. Maybe all you need is, let's say, 30 grams of carbs after you exercise. Maybe that's the sweet spot. Maybe you can experiment with how far you need to go and how much you need to eat to get the result that you would expect. So we can be in the gray zone. We just need to find that sweet spot. And then that is the goal. Like, okay, I quit carbs. The only time I eat carbs is after exercise for a specific purpose. The way that I do it, I don't eat carbs on most days. But if I have a headache, and I know which type of headache it is that can be offset by eating carbs, if I have that type of headache, I'm going to eat some carbs. I usually eat anywhere between 30 and 40 grams, something like that. And that helps. A little bit depending on what the source is, actually. But that helps me offset that headache and save me a lot of pain, basically. So I use carbs as medicine. And you can do it as, like, okay, this carbs is a supplement to help me get better results in the gym, if that's true. Okay. The 8th thought that you do not want to think is like, I deserve it, or I have earned it, or this is my reward, along those lines. Because you are 100% lying to yourself when you have that thought. A reward is never something that harms you. How could eating carbs, when you know that they are not good for your body or your mind, be a reward? Like, I'm asking you this question because if you think about it, you're going to know that what I'm saying is true. It's like, it is not a reward. What's a reward? A reward is something that feels good now and long term. Okay? A reward could be like, I'm going to go and soak in a nice Epsom salt bath with some nice relaxing music and candles or whatever. That feels really good, and you're going to feel good after. Whereas eating carbs feels really good when you do it, and you're going to feel like shit after. So a reward is you taking care of yourself. What other self-care things could you think about that you could do for yourself that would feel good now and after? Like maybe you just want to like, okay, I'm going to reward myself. I'm going to book myself in for a massage. Or if you really want to use food as a reward, you could go and buy like the best freaking steak on earth, like super expensive Wagyu or whatever. Like this is my reward for the hard work that I've done. That's going to taste amazing. It's going to give you the nutrition and you're going to feel amazing afterwards. You're going to feel like, yes, I'm really taking care of myself. That is a reward. The carbs are never a reward. Carbs is just entertainment. The ninth thought that you don't want to have, it's like, it's easy to just eat the carbs than explain why I don't do it. Like when you're with other people in social situations, many people are just like, oh, I can't be bothered to explain this or having the argument or whatever, so it's easy to just eat the carbs. My question is like, is it really? Like when you really think about it, is it actually easier? In the moment, yes, that's going to be easier because no one's going to say anything. But seriously, like the consequences of you doing that when you're out, what are those? You're going to feel like shit. That's not easier than just saying, hey, I don't eat carbs anymore. You might feed your diabetes, you might feed your fat mass, you know, all of those things that you want to get rid of, they are going to get worse because you gave in and just ate because you didn't want to tell someone that you don't eat carbs anymore. You have so many thoughts about this. Sometimes other people are just going to be accepting of it and you're not going to say something. Sometimes they will say something and you could just like, I don't eat carbs anymore. I feel better when I don't do it. You don't have to give them big explanation for why. You don't even have to say that you feel better. You can just say, no, I don't eat that. It's really, really easy. But you are having so many thoughts about how they're going to look at you, what they think, how they perceive it, all of those things. That's what's in your way. It's never about actually having to explain it. It's what you think that they're going to think about it. So question that thought. Question it thoroughly. And the last one, you might be thinking that I'm not good enough. I'm never going to be able to do this. Listen to what I said. Like, I'm not good enough. And I'm never going to be able to do this. Like, would you ever say those words to someone else? If I looked at you and I was like, you're not good enough. You're not ever going to be able to do this. If I said that to your face, you would probably be quite upset. You'd be like, oi, who the heck do you think you are speaking to me that way? We would never speak to other people that way. We would never say that to another person. You had to just like decide that enough is enough. Like we don't speak to ourselves this way. We never put ourselves down. We never tell ourselves that we're not enough, that we can't do it, because it's simply not true. If someone else said those words to you, would you be upset? If the answer is yes, you do not say that to yourself. And this is a decision that you need to make. Like, nope, I don't speak to myself like that anymore. Saying I'm not good enough, that's not good enough. Like, cut that shit out and start saying, I'm learning how to do this. I'm going to try doing things. I'm going to experiment with this. I'm going to figure out how to do it. Those are a lot better things that you can say to yourself. Like, I haven't figured it out yet, but I'm working on it. Like, this is what I'm doing now. And I keep trying new things until it's working. That's where you want to be. I have told people in the past, like I don't think that my coaching program would help you right now. I have said that. But that has never been about them not being good enough or having a brain that can't conceive of the concept or anything. It has been because of other things, like maybe how committed they are to doing. Because frankly, some people come to me and they're like, yeah, I want to quit. What do I need to do? Like, and you can just feel the energy. It's like, yeah, well, I don't really have time to do it. I would like to quit. And they just want to check things out. And you know when people are like that. And I can tell they're not ready to do it yet. Like they're not at that place. It's not that important to them. And in which case, you're never going to be able to do it. So in that case, I wouldn't be able to help them. Or maybe it's just about their ability to prioritize this journey right now. Sometimes life happens. We have like people like dying parents and stuff, you know, that we need to take care of. And it's like, Sometimes people come to me and they're like, oh yeah, my dad is very sick right now and we're at the hospital a lot. I'm like, okay, we can do this, but are you sure that this is the right time? Sometimes it's something like that, in which case I would urge you to absolutely work on not thinking these thoughts that you had right now, but maybe like trying to push too far is not what you should be doing right now. And so when I say this to people, it's not like, it doesn't mean that they are not good enough. Absolutely not. It just means that right now, I don't think that this would give them the results that they are looking for. And that's obviously in their best interest and in my best interest. And it's just super important to me that my clients get the results that they want. So I only want to work with people who are ready and able to help themselves right now. If you have the time, great. If you do not have the time, okay, let's talk when you're ready, which is fine. It has nothing to do with you being able to do it. That's not what it means. At one point in my life, I would not have been ready to do it myself. And I'm admitting that all the time. But I don't make that mean that it wasn't, that I wasn't good enough at the time. It just means that I was in a different place in my journey. And some of you might be, which is completely fine. So whenever you notice that you have any of these 10 thoughts that I've just gone through, or any other unhelpful thought that like when I think this, it's really spiraling me down into a bad place where I don't want to be. When you notice that something is keeping you stuck in old behaviors, just like stop yourself. Start questioning where this is coming from and why you would want to tell yourself that. Start talking to yourself in a more encouraging way. And if you don't yet believe in it, just add in like, I'm learning how to do this, or I'm practicing, to let your brain relax about it, because we might not be saying, yeah, I don't eat carbs anymore. You can just say like, no, I'm learning how to not eat carbs anymore. And that just takes the pressure off, and it makes it so much easier for us to accept that as a thought that we can have, that we believe in. So give your brain something that is believable and that will get you closer to your goal. That's what we want. And we do that, a lot of that, in Quitting for the Last Time. So it's not just about the cravings, because we have patterns in our lives that show up everywhere. So when you learn how to create new thought patterns, it's not just your diet that will improve. It's your whole life. Your whole life will improve as a result of you learning how to do this with your cravings. So that is just a side effect of learning how to stick with your diet. It's just a transferable skill that you can use any way you like, in any area of your life, for the rest of your life. So it's not something that you're going to forget how to do. You just need to keep practicing it. And you're going to notice as well, when you stop paying attention, that negative self-talk is present everywhere. If I hadn't figured out how to stop eating sugar, I know for a fact that I would have been in victim mode a lot more of the time. I used to I would probably blame everyone else for what they put me through and how unfairly they had treated me, because that's where I used to go. That was my automatic go-to. They shouldn't have been doing it, and it's their fault that I feel like shit. But I've learned to just actually take responsibility for my eating habits myself, so that I can get away from that victim behavior. Because when you're being the victim and when you're blaming everyone else, it's never your fault. And if it's not your fault, how on earth will you be able to fix it? So now I am aware of what's happening. I can take responsibility for most things in my life. There are still areas when I might be struggling, or situations where the lizard brain just takes over because it's too threatening. But most of the time, I can take responsibility for how I feel and how I react in situations. And it's all down to me, and I am feeling so much better off for doing that. When I know that I can trust myself to make sure that I feel good, what's in the way? It's just my brain. My brain is in the way. So if you guys don't like my YouTube videos, I'm not going to blame you. And I'm not going to blame me. I'm just going to go try to figure out how to create better content to help you better. And that's it. That's what taking responsibility looks like. It doesn't have, if you give me a thumbs down, I'm not going to go and cry about it. I'm going to be like, oh, interesting. No, there's no feedback to get from a thumbs down. But if you send me an email or something, I had someone say yeah, you were a little bit boring in this video or whatever. I'm like, okay, now I have to think about that. What can I do to make it less boring, maybe? Rather than taking that personally. That is what taking responsibility looks like. And you can do this with all the cravings, with all the things. And if this kind of work resonates with you and you want to become like a mind ninja when it comes to food and food choices and your ability to live with integrity, like join the group. I will teach you everything that you need to know in there. There are no strings attached. Either you're able to quit or I'm going to give you your investment back. It's that simple. There is no risk on your side. All you have to do, sign up, do the work. Either you're going to quit within 12 weeks or you will get the money back and you will get that experience for free. It's that simple. So stop thinking shitty thoughts. Just get it done. Like, start thinking higher level thinking, thoughts that would propel you forward and get you to where you want to be. Okay, I'll speak to you again next week. Bye.